Hey, the PMP exam is one of the most difficult tests for professionals, and we've heard this from everyone. But not to worry, you have a coach who eats the PMBOK for lunch. Here he is to set the record straight for you, your friend Phil.
What's up, my awesome project managers? Have you had lunch? Talking about eating the PMBOK for lunch? I hope you have. Well, anyway, welcome to this session where we talk about a challenge. Can you get PMP certified? Not just at any old time. You know, I had a student out of Canada that spent a good 3.5 years deciding to take the exam. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, I know everyone's on their own timetable, their own agenda, and their own schedule, but this guy took 3.5 years to decide to pull the trigger. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about procrastinating for hours and minutes and days and years on end. No. I'm talking about being decisive and having a plan. The reason why a lot of you are still not certified is you don't have a plan. You're aimless. You need a plan. You need to put yourself into a fast track planning mode. I'm not talking about doing so many things at once like when we talk about fast tracking. I'm just talking about planning out. How about 8 weeks of your life to work on this thing once and for all? You know, one thing that gets me really bothered for students is they don't have direction and they keep on revisiting the learning management system. Oh, Phil, I need to study again. And then you see them all gung-ho on the system for about a month and then it fizzles out. And then you don't hear from them for who knows how long. And then they suddenly show up all gung-ho again and then they fizzle out. That's not what I'm talking about. If you really want to get certified, you need to buckle down with a plan. And I'm not talking about any old plan. You got to have direction. Don't be aimless. Have a plan. Have a plan. Now, having a plan is centered on a number of things. First of all, this thing. A lot of people don't have a plan for this. You do know that in 2020, as the new exam approaches, you better have a plan for this one because you will find it on the test. And again, the big beast itself, that as well. How can you do this? There's hope. Let me share an idea with you. How about you dedicating 120 hours, and I'm talking about quality hours, towards this endeavor? In other words, 120 divided by 8. And then you'll see how doable this thing is. 120 divided by 8. What does it spit back at me? 15 hours a week. A measly 15 hours a week. If you put in that 15 hours a week, it should be able to take you, if not all the way to the finish line and beyond, very, very, very close. The problem is you are not putting in the time. You're not. And the metrics and the measurements, they don't lie. The weights, they don't lie. I know when I've been goofing off and not working out and getting on the treadmill and doing my cardio, the weights don't lie. I look at the scale and it spits back, you are actually in the red zone, Phil. Let's not talk about what the red zone is for me. It's despicable. But I know when I'm out into the red zone, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't. If you put in quality time, quality effort, you will begin to see results. You will. Lots of folks aren't putting in the time. They're not putting in the effort. They're not putting in the energy, and they're not putting in the concentration. And they're looking for things on a platter. You got to hustle for your PMP exam muscle. I keep telling you. It's not going to happen magically. It's not. Now, a lot of people, I cannot tell you how many people worldwide say, Phil, I listened to your channel. I watched your videos. I got into the exam. It helped me, and so on. But really, watching videos is just one piece of the puzzle. That's your daily maintenance. That's not the meat. You need to beef up on meat. The protein, you need to beef up on the protein. And you need to be putting in at least, on average, do the math, I'm talking about a conservative estimate here. I know some people might use 50 hours to study, 60, and I'm talking about on top of their 35-hour course. But after the course, I am giving you an estimate of 120 hours. If you begin working now, there is no reason in my mind why come end of February 2020, you shouldn't be sending me copious messages saying, Phil, I got this done. That's what I'm looking for. So I want you to make a plan right now that you will put in unfailingly 2 hours on average every day for a sustained period of 2 months, and come back and tell me it didn't work. Come back and tell me it didn't work. Sustained, dedicated. I'm talking about when it's time to study. You know that you shouldn't be around certain places. You should take yourself out and go somewhere else because it ain't going to stick. I'm talking about full-on studying, no nonsense studying. I'm talking about blocking out all distractions. Some of you are distracted just by being at home. It's not going to work. You got to take yourself out of that comfort zone. You got to take yourself to a place where you can really zero in on why you are there for that 2 hours. For me, I know where it was. I would take this thing with me. Well, the second edition to the Mesa Library here in Arizona. I would sit down non-stop. Now, my case was different. I wasn't just putting in 2 hours a day. I was putting in so many hours a day, it was ridiculous. I was putting in 1 hour before I went to work. I was putting in 30 minutes, 40 minutes on my drive to work. I was putting in another 1 hour at lunchtime, and I was putting in another almost an hour being caught up in traffic by listening to audio. Non-stop. A lot of people, they marvel. They're like, Phil, how do you remember all this stuff in the PMBOK guide? Because I spent over 300, 400, 500 hours of my life reading the thing. Why wouldn't it stick? It stuck. And I still to this day hear the voice in my head defining project management terms because all I would do is listen to it round the clock. It stuck. It stuck to the point I didn't even need to look at the PMBOK guide anymore. I can run a full 35-hour course without the PMBOK guide. Every piece of the criticality is right up here. How did it get there? It didn't get there by me not doing anything. I studied the thing. If you study it, if you put yourself into the real world of it, it will begin to stick more and more. So I am challenging you. What are you going to do in the next 2 months? Are you going to be here in 2020 telling me you aced it? I really hope so. But the longest journeys in life, you do know they start with a step. And they start with a step of deliberateness, of intentionality. So, how do you get intentional with this stuff? I'm going to kick around some ideas for you here, and I'm going to hope that you listen to what the raving lunatic who always comes on here and says, you should read the PMBOK. I hope you listen to him for once. I know it sounds like he's always going on and on and on and on. He is always going on and on because he wants you to succeed. But you know the cool thing? Once you are done with it, you don't need to hear me in this mode. There are other modes. There are more pleasurable modes, I can assure you. This is not the only thing I train. Okay? This is just one of the things. I train leadership and communications. And honestly, to be quite honest with you, those topics, I enjoy them just as much as this. But if we don't get this done, you're not going to be able to come onto my other curricula where I'm chilled, where I'm relaxed, where we're having a one-on-one conversation, and we're just chilled. In order to get there, we need to go through this. Like those of you PMPs who are now certified, 2020, stay tuned. I've got a phenomenal curriculum for those of you who are PMPs in leadership, communications, and many other fun topics where you can get PDUs by being so chilled. But now, our friends who are not PMPs, I'm going to have to help them. All right. How do you win big on the PMP exam? I'm going to give you a few quick ideas about how you can win big on this test because I want you to win big. Okay. So, you've heard me say it 1,000,001 times, have a plan. You got to be informed. Have a plan. I also want to encourage you to use the likes of Siri and Alexa. They will help keep you on the straight and narrow. Just tell them, remind me. You don't want to be like this lady in the picture. She's tapped out. She had no plan. And when Alexa's telling her, time to study, she's like, no, I need a nap. You see, if you don't plan your world around this exam, the exam continues to evade you. It's a tough test, my friends, not just because of the content, not just because of the number of hours you need to study, but also because it needs planning. The planning is tough. What do you do after forget 8 hours. What do you do after a 12-hour day? 12-hour day. What do you do after that? How do you propel yourself to study? How do you motivate yourself to study? You know what I used to do after 10-hour days when I wanted to study? What I did was stay put right there in the office. I wouldn't go home. I'd stay right there and I'd study. That's what I would do. So for you, whatever your plan is to be able to get this done might be very different from my plan. But whatever you need to do, I want to encourage you to do it. Have a plan. Plan out your knowledge areas. Plan out your process groups. Okay? Plan out everything that has to be done to the letter. Now, those of you on our program, here's the good news. We have a schedule. Okay? So if you're on our learning system, we have a day by day by day by day schedule. And that's on the LMS. And if you're on the LMS and you still can't find it, you need to let me know. But almost everyone knows I'm always talking about schedules. You got to take your PMP exam like a Microsoft project schedule. You got to schedule the thing out. You got to look at the Gantt chart. It's going to hold you accountable. Too many people studying just ad hoc, round and round and round we go, never getting anywhere. We don't want that to be the case, my friends, okay? So you want to have a plan. Be informed, okay? I always tell you, if you have questions, feel free to drop them. Drop them. In fact, let me see if any of our friends have got questions. I haven't even checked. I see one. There's our friend Robert. How you doing, Bob? I hope you're doing good. Oh, thank you, Bob. I hope we bring some more question time programs this week. I think we've got a few more scheduled. But Bob is one of our PMP bosses. He's been in this journey he's been like a PM for a long time. And that just goes to show you, never stop learning. Even if you've been a PM, a lot of folks say, oh, I've been a PM for this long and that long. And the PMI, they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm like, come on now. These are your colleagues. The PMBOK guide, a lot of people think this thing was written by people working for the PMI. No, it wasn't. It was written by volunteers like you and me, professionals, people like Bob. All right? Even when you look at the current Agile Practice Guide, the 6 folks who were involved in this, you can see them on social media. You can see them. They're not PMI employees. So the whole idea of continuing to learn is so important. That's why I would recommend, if you are really serious about project management, just get certified. It's not a big deal. Get PMP certified. Anyway, let's move on. Secondly, I want you to commit to the plan. All right, you got to stick to the plan. And that's why I'm talking about Siri and Alexa and all those people, because if you program them to tell you, all those people, oh dear, the world of AI is upon us. When you tell these devices to remind you, they will. And you should feel guilt when you're blowing past your study time, playing solitaire and goofing around. If that's you, you should feel guilty. You should be like, oh dear, What did I do with my life today? Have you ever asked yourself? I ask myself that all the time. What did I just do with my life today? What did I spend 24 hours on? Was it anything of substance? You got to ask yourself those questions. And when Siri tells you, Phil, it's time to study, you can best believe I am going to be studying. I'm going to be on top of myself studying. All right, coaching. So coaching is a vehicle that will help a lot of us because we cannot do this all alone. It is hard to do it all alone. So the likes of the Siris and the Alexas of this world are all well and good. But I want you to even think beyond that. I want you to think about humans. humans helping you. Sometimes you just need a human to give you some advice. And then when you're getting ready for this PMP exam, sometimes you just need a human experienced coach to tell you, why do you think that happened? What do you think we should do here? Why is the PMBOK guide saying this? Drawing the answers out of you. Now, there is quite a difference between coaching versus training. Training is pretty much telling you, well, this is what the PMBOK guide is saying, and this is how you can view it. But by the time you got a coach who can unlock your mind to see the PMBOK guide differently, it's a whole different game. So I want to encourage you, those of you who really mean business and you're like, Phil, I'm all high and dry, I got no help, the trainer who trained me is nowhere to be found. I want to introduce you to the PMP Exam Prep Blended Curriculum, okay? This curriculum is 2 months and we are going full throttle on this PMBOK guide. We're going to make sure that by the time we are done, you are very, very much clued in. And hey, those of you on the program, you do know we ain't done. Some of you are already on the program. You know I'm cooking you. You're going to be cooked, you're going to be ready, and you're going to kill this ridiculous test because we're not done. Don't get off the bus until we arrive. We are still going strong. If you follow this process, my friends, this process I'm showing you, 2 months, it can work wonders. If you come aboard a program such as this, it will really, really catapult you into success because you won't just be running on empty, doing it alone, okay? You'll have your friend Phil reminding you about stuff, helping you to understand stuff. That's what it's about. So I will hold you accountable. I want to challenge you to tell your management, those of you whose management has paid for some lackluster training, encourage them to send you to this curriculum. 2 months. By the time we're done, you'll be cooked. But you got to be true to the curriculum, all right? Steps to follow to finalize this whole thing. I got to get off my soapbox here because I've got a meeting right now. But read the PMBOK guide to understanding. And I'm not just talking about reading it like a zombie. No. For goodness sake, if you got questions, ask. I love it when people ask meaningful, sensible questions about the PMBOK guide because you know that I will try to incorporate it into one of these videos and get back to you. You know. Now, case in point, there was a student who wrote, and I do apologize. It's been quite a while. I haven't gotten back to this student who asked, what's the difference between what should the PM do first? What should the PM do next? What is the best thing to do and all that? And you know the short answer to it? What should you do next? What should you do best? What is the first thing to do? It is all the same because if the PM has an ounce of common sense, they will do the best thing first, right? So don't be bamboozled by those tricky question writers that one question they ask, what should you do best? What should you do next? It's all the same thing. The PM operating with a high PM IQ is not going to do the best thing last. They're going to do it first. So it's all the same thing. Camouflage to throw you off probably. Okay? So if you have questions, throw them into the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Okay? I am here to help you. So anyway, read the PMBOK guide to understand and ask questions. Every input, tool, technique, and output, you've heard me say time and time again, you got to see them. You got to see them in a template. You got to see them in a tool. If you haven't experienced the PMBOK guide live in all of the process groups and all of the knowledge areas, and hey, watch this. Every single tool and technique. Some people think the tools and techniques are optional. No, they're not. If you don't know all your tools and techniques, you're doing yourself harm. Why wouldn't you search for a logical data model and just understand the thing? It's not that hard. Why is it so difficult? It's not difficult. If you ask me, I'll explain it to you. Anything in the guide, anything in any of the books. Okay, so if you are one of our students and you're suffering alone, you're doing it wrong, you should be sending emails. A lot of you students are not sending me updates of where you are in the process. I got my eye on you. Don't think I've forgotten. I haven't. We had a deal when you started this course to give me updates. Some of you haven't given me updates in eons. Some of you just say, Phil, I've passed the exam. No, that's not how to do it. You need to be telling me how you are and what's going on. Okay, enough said. I'm going to get off my soapbox here. Follow the Philism, I call it. WPD, WPI, WPR, the cycle. Watch my PMBOK mainline. Know it inside out. I can't count how many people worldwide have said that was a deal clincher for me. The moment I understood that thing, my mind was opened up. Watch the ridiculous thing. It's only about 12 minutes long. It's right there on the channel. Watch it. Look, I want you to get certified so you move on. Move on to bigger things in life. Being a student of PMP is at the bottom of my Maslow's pyramid in project management. Let me tell you that. What is bigger in my Maslow's hierarchy in my head is you get into the pinnacle. The PMP is a vehicle. It's not the pinnacle. You think it's the pinnacle? It's not the pinnacle. What is the pinnacle is you adding value to yourself, adding value to your family, adding value to your company, and blowing this thing up. PMP is a vehicle. It's at the bottom. It's, in my mind, it's at the physiological level. Okay? Let's not even look at it as anything other than the base, because there's a lot more for you to do in your professional life. The PMP is just one tiny little piece of the puzzle. A lot of people get so excited getting PMP certified and do nothing with it. So when I say I want you to get it done and move on, I'm just saying that because I know there are bigger and better things. Much bigger and much better things. Do you know how much joy I get when PMs come back to tell me, oh, Phil, I've been given a promotion as a VP of project management. I've been made a COO. I've been made a CTO. One of the students in my class invited me to come train in his firm. He was a CTO. He'd been made a CTO time and time again. That's what I'm looking for. So PMP is the beginning. It is but the beginning. I want you to blow this thing up, all right? Number 4, read pages 686 to 694. Make flashcards, step 3. I skipped that one in my frustration of people not taking action. And step 5, read the glossary in the same vein, page 698 to 726. I need to get off this bus right now because there is stuff to be done. Okay? So we're going to get off this bus right now. I think that's the end of the presentation anyway. So if you're looking for training, coaching, help in your PMP, you need to go to pmsucceed.com. That's where it's all happening. We've got the PMP exam prep blended. You don't want to miss the start of it this week. Hop on the bandwagon right away. Let's get it done. And if you feel your trainer, your coach, your mentor, whoever is that go-to person is doing a good job, get them to keep doing a good job and let them inspire you and help you, motivate you, get you from point A to point B. I rest my case. I want to thank you, those of you who joined, but it's about that time we need to hop off the bus because I got a meeting. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.